You were born into circumstances beyond your control. Perhaps the relentless pressure of unpaid rent cast a perpetual shadow over your childhood home, the stress of it all etching deep lines of worry onto your parents' faces. Maybe you witnessed their tireless efforts to make ends meet, juggling multiple jobs, their bodies aching with exhaustion, yet still falling short of providing the life they desperately wanted for you. Hand-me-down clothes, often ill-fitting and faded from countless washes, formed the core of your wardrobe. The same inexpensive meals, repeated day after day, transformed from mere sustenance into a stark symbol of your family's ongoing struggle against the crushing weight of poverty. This was not a choice you willingly made. You didn't select your starting point in life's arduous race. But here's a raw, unvarnished truth. A truth that might either offend you to your very core or, conversely, liberate you completely from the shackles of your past. If you draw your last breath still trapped in the unforgiving grip of poverty, that ultimate outcome becomes entirely your responsibility. The story of Leo. This is the story of Leo, a man who vehemently refused to allow his birthplace to become his final resting place. And if you are truly ready to cast aside the flimsy excuses that have been holding you captive for far too long and begin taking decisive, meaningful action to reshape your destiny, then stay with me until the very end. Because let's be honest with ourselves, this might just be the jarring wake-up call that irrevocably alters the trajectory of your entire life, propelling you toward a future you never dared to imagine. In a struggling, forgotten neighborhood on the neglected periphery of Philadelphia lived a 28-year-old man named Leo Maxwell. His life had become a monotonous, soul-crushing cycle, each day mirroring the last with depressing accuracy. Leo worked diligently as a warehouse stock clerk, toiling away for a meager $14 an hour, barely enough to keep his head above water. He still resided in the same subsidized housing project where he had spent his entire childhood, a stark and constant reminder of his humble, impoverished beginnings. Southside Garden, Unit 408. The same cracked and peeling walls that seemed to whisper haunting stories of hardship and broken dreams. The same perpetually broken elevator that symbolized the stagnation that had plagued his life. The same depressing view of the dreary parking lot where his father's beat-up car once sat. A fleeting symbol of hope before it was tragically repossessed, leaving a gaping void in their lives. His mother, Elena, a woman of immense inner strength and unwavering, unconditional love, had raised him single-handedly after his father's abrupt and unexplained departure when Leo was just 7 years old, leaving them to fend for themselves in a world that often seemed indifferent to their plight. She toiled tirelessly as a hotel housekeeper for 22 long, grueling years, her hands permanently roughened and scarred from the harsh chemicals and relentless, back-breaking labor. She never earned more than a paltry $12 an hour, never experienced the profound pride of owning her own home, a dream that remained forever out of reach. She passed away at the tragically young age of 56, leaving behind a mere $847 in her bank account, a heartbreaking testament to a life of unrelenting struggle and sacrifice. Leo had stood somberly at her funeral just 6 months prior, the grief a heavy weight on his shoulders. As he gazed upon her simple casket, clad in a borrowed suit because he couldn't even afford to purchase one of his own, he made a silent, solemn promise, a vow etched in the deepest recesses of his heart. "Mom," he whispered, the words resonating deep within his soul, "I'll do better. I'll break this cycle of poverty. I swear it to you. The cycle of blame. But 6 long agonizing months had passed since that heartfelt promise, and tragically, nothing had changed in any meaningful way. Leo was still trapped in the suffocating cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, barely scraping by. He still purchased groceries using the same EBT card that his mother had relied on for years, a constant reminder of their shared struggles. He still dutifully rode the same soul-crushing bus route to the same dead-end job that offered absolutely no prospects for advancement, his hopes and dreams slowly withering away. And deep down, buried beneath layers of resentment and despair, Leo harbored an insidious lie, a self-defeating narrative that had taken root in his mind. I'm poor because I was born poor. The system is rigged against me from the start. People like me simply don't have a fair chance to get ahead in this world. The deck is stacked against us. Every morning, as he reluctantly dragged himself out of bed, he would think, "What's the point of even trying? I'm already 28 years old. I have no college degree, no connections, no advantages whatsoever. This is our inescapable fate. We're doomed to repeat the same mistakes." Because here's the insidious and dangerous thing about placing the blame for your circumstances squarely on external factors. It's profoundly comfortable and strangely reassuring. If your poverty is attributed to someone else's fault, to some nebulous force beyond your control, then you are conveniently absolved of all personal responsibility. You can simply remain exactly where you are, mired in your current situation, and feel self-righteously justified in your inaction, clinging to the belief that you are a victim of circumstance. Breaking Point 1. Bitterly cold Tuesday in November, as the wind howled through the streets of Philadelphia, Leo's life reached a critical breaking point, a moment of reckoning that would ultimately determine his future. He received the dreaded eviction notice, a formal document that struck fear into his heart. Leo now had a mere 30 days to somehow scrape together the sum of $2,400 or face the devastating consequences of eviction, being thrown out onto the streets with nowhere to go. That night, consumed by overwhelming desperation and a profound sense of hopelessness, he made a phone call to his Uncle Jackson, his mother's older brother and the only member of their family who had managed to escape the cycle of poverty. Jackson had successfully escaped the neighborhood 25 years ago and had painstakingly built a thriving HVAC and mechanical contracting business from the ground up through sheer determination and hard work. Leo swallowed his pride, choked back his tears, and asked his uncle for a loan. Just $2,400, enough to stave off the immediate threat of homelessness. "Leo, I'm not giving you money. I'm not rich, Leo. I'm comfortable because I made fundamentally different choices than everyone else in our family. And giving you money wouldn't actually help you in the long run. It would merely delay the inevitable, postponing the moment of truth. You're passively following a pre-written script, a tragic narrative that has been handed down through 3 generations, and now you're mad at me because I refuse to fund the next chapter of that destructive script. You didn't choose to be born poor. That was beyond your control. But you are actively choosing to stay poor, and that, my boy, is entirely your responsibility. Being born into poverty is not a life sentence, a predetermined fate from which there is no escape. It's merely a starting line, an initial disadvantage that you have the power to overcome. The two paths, blame versus build. Meet me at my shop Saturday morning at 7 a.m. sharp. Don't be late. On Saturday morning, Jackson grabbed a whiteboard and drew two diverging arrows, clearly illustrating the two distinct paths that lay before Leo. He wrote the word blame above the first arrow, representing the path of self-pity and victimhood, and build above the second, symbolizing the path of empowerment and self-reliance. Path 2 is the path of build. It's much harder because it requires you to accept a brutal truth. You are 100% responsible for your future, even though you were 0% responsible for your past. It means taking ownership of your life, regardless of the obstacles you face. Principle 1. Your birth is your starting point, not your ceiling. It doesn't define what you are capable of achieving. Principle 2. Wealth is built through three essential currencies: time, decisions, and identity. How you invest your time, the decisions you make, and the identity you cultivate are all crucial to your success. You have to actively shift your identity to that of a wealthy person in training. You need to start thinking and acting like someone who is destined for success. I identified as a business owner even when I was still scrubbing floors, cleaning toilets, and doing all the jobs no one else wanted to do. And that mindset drove my choices, shaping my actions, and ultimately leading me to where I am today. The 2-year commitment. I'm going to offer you a job working as a junior technician on my sites. It pays $18 an hour, which is a significant increase from what you're currently earning. But here's the catch. From 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., 5 nights a week, you're going to learn, you're going to study, you're going to dedicate yourself to mastering a valuable skill. Pick a skill: electrical work, blueprint reading, or industrial sales, and become obsessed with mastering it, immersing yourself completely in the learning process. In 2 years, if you truly dedicate yourself to this task, pouring all your energy and focus into it, you won't even recognize your own life. It will be completely transformed. Leo looked at his uncle, met his unwavering gaze, and firmly shook his hand, his heart filled with a mixture of trepidation and newfound hope. I'm in. The transformation. The first 3 months nearly broke him. The schedule was grueling, the demands were high, and the learning curve was steep. Leo woke up at 4:45 a.m. every day, pushing himself to the limit. From 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., after a long day of physical labor, he diligently taught himself HVAC diagnostics and project management through free online courses, sacrificing his evenings and weekends to pursue his goals. By month 6, Leo had managed to save $4,000, a testament to his discipline and hard work. He immediately used the money to pay off his outstanding debt, freeing himself from the burden that had weighed him down for so long, and he felt something he hadn't experienced in years: momentum, a sense of progress and accomplishment. By the end of year 1, Leo was managing his own crews, overseeing projects, and taking on increasing responsibility. His pay increased to $24 an hour, reflecting his newfound skills and competence. He finally moved out of the dilapidated housing projects and into a modest 1-bedroom apartment that he could actually afford. A small but significant step towards a better future. He no longer saw himself as Leo from the projects, the victim of circumstance. He saw himself as a project manager in training, a capable and ambitious professional with the potential to achieve great things. 22 months later, Jackson offered him a position running a new regional branch, a testament to Leo's hard work and dedication. Salary: $68,000 plus a share of the profits, a life-changing opportunity that he readily accepted. He earned $73,000 in his first full year, a staggering sum compared to his previous income. He had finally built a substantial emergency fund and started contributing to a Roth IRA, securing his financial future. The full story. Leo eventually drove back to Southside Garden, Unit 408, the place where his journey had begun. He saw a 19-year-old kid sitting despondently on the steps, his face etched with despair. "Born poor, die poor," the kid said with a shrug of resignation. "That's just how it goes for people like us. There's no way out." Leo smiled gently, a knowing smile born from his own experiences. "I didn't get out. I built out. And you can too. It won't be easy, but it is possible. You are not responsible for the hand you were dealt in life, for the circumstances into which you were born. But you are absolutely responsible for how you choose to play it, for the decisions you make and the actions you take. Poverty is not simply about a lack of money. It is a deeply ingrained mindset, a limiting belief that can hold you captive. You can declare with unwavering conviction, "I didn't choose my start, but I will absolutely choose my finish." Born in poverty? Not your fault. Die in poverty? Your choice. What will you choose? Start building today. Would you like me to generate an image of Leo standing outside his uncle's HVAC shop in the early morning light to accompany this story?